Hello and welcome to the 8th round of the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship. Unfortunately, we experienced some technical delays. Obviously, it's a small technical issue that will be solved right away. The server is currently down, so we are waiting for that to get back up. Otherwise than that, there's no problem at all into watching some great racing today. Not only this race, obviously we have the pro race coming up in about half an hour. We have Q1, Q2 to get to first, and after that race we will have the Formula Sim Racing WC. So much to look out for. At the moment we're just solving the technical issue, so we will be right back in 2 minutes. Get something to drink, get something to eat, a lot of popcorn for the start. I advise you. Maybe we have some guy driving around without a rear wing, and I mean, plenty of reasons to go and grab some popcorn for yourself. So see you in a couple of minutes. Hello and welcome back again. We are finally going live here into Q1, and what a great day it is to be racing. A lot of guys already stacking up into the pit lane. It's going to be one hell of an outlap, especially on the end of it, where everyone is just piling up in front of each other, and everyone is trying to get the gap that, well, everyone deserves basically. basically it's now a sprint race to who will ever get to S3 the first. And we already saw in the practice. I don't know if you guys saw, there were some server issues for some. Maybe it was just still up for you guys, hopefully. Michele D'Alessandro did do a 30.2, which made him the fastest of that session. So let's just see. Server time a little bit wrong there. With 1 hour to go, but I'm sure they will just have until the 50-minute mark, and then the flag will be held out. At the moment it's Giordano Valeriano battling along with a Ghost Speed car. I think it's the car of Quaco. It is the car of Quaco. And Valeriano slowing really down. Here, Quaco is trying to pass him on the outlap, and he has every right to do so. If you're driving that fast, I mean, you're basically asking for it. Quaco now trying to get the overtake done at the hangar straight, and remember, this is only an outlap. These guys are shredding their tires and they're making contact! Holy shit! Oh my god, it's Quaco making contact with Valeriano, and Valeriano should just get the hell out of that way. Maybe press quit, but that's my personal opinion. He deserves to be here, but that was just really stupid. Now Craig Baxter is one of the first over the line. It's gonna be the first guy to set a time. Bright fellow, that Craig. Taking a conserved line into the first sector. Maybe tries to get a banker lap under his belt, and well, build on after that. But a lot of action going on in the outlap of Q1. Definitely these guys from Pro are giving us worth for our money. Let's see. A lot of guys trying to set a banker lap, but it's really crowded on the track. A lot of allocations earlier on. I did believe we did have pre-qualify. We have 25 drivers onto the grid, or onto the track right now. That only leaves 2 or 3 seconds in between for the circle to be completed. Now let's see what Craig Baxter will do as a first lap. The sectors are looking reasonable, but he is driving a little bit conserved at the moment. But it's just the first lap. Now a lot of these guys here really have to make this race work for themselves. I mean, it's the last race before the summer break, and you obviously wanna end your last race of the spring in a good old fashion to take that extra little bit of confidence into the autumn. At the moment it's Jeroen Quaco being on P1 at the moment, 30.074. Leaves some 3.5 tenths shy of the Alessandro, who's in second with a 30.4. So that's a big gap. Jeroen feeling obviously quite comfortable, and well, that's an understatement if you win 90% of all the races. So he's doing a fantastic job, and I wonder if he will take pole position again. It has been some races actually for Jeroen to be on pole position. I believe it was 3 races ago where he last made it onto pole position. Michele D'Alessandro is really hungry for victories, and well, he got a nice taste of it last time around. I mean, he got his cherry popped in Formula Sim Racing, be it on the pro level. He is driving in WC later on, I believe. So is Jeroen Quaco, that I know for sure. And well, Quaco being definitely WC material in my opinion. And I'm sure in a lot of guys their opinions. So I'm really curious what he will show us later this evening. For now, he has a race to win. I mean, by far he's the most impressive guy in Pro this season, winning so many races. But how will you do on WC? It's just another level. So we are halfway through the session. 5 minutes to go until the flag is out. You might see 55 minutes onto your screen. Just count on the fact that it's the flag is going out at 50 minutes, and still only drivers with only 1 lap under their belt, and a lot of drivers are aborting their laps at the moment. Still 3.5 tenths the margin between Quaco and the Alessandro. Alessandro crossing the start-finish line now, but only to set an outlap. He's going for it right now. But I assume he's relatively safe. Who's not relatively safe is Eugene from Longenburg. Our dear von Swagenburg, who is on P10 at the moment. And at P11 as we speak, David Cook is stealing that position with a 1:30.829. So he's on P10, that's the cutoff. And Eugene has to work it. Work it, baby! No, but yeah, between that, behind that, that's Carlos Fernandez with a 30.9, but then 30.9, and then it's Bufumu with a 31.1. Bufumu made some nice progress on the A1 ring, but seemed to lose it a little bit in Germany in this race. I don't know. So David Cook going out for another flyer. Obviously he's not feeling comfortable on P10, but at least he made a cut for now. Samuel Carpenter puts himself into P5, 30.6 for him. The margins are relatively close around the back of the field. Jeroen Kwekel is definitely going to Q2 with a 30.0 and might even be testing Q2 at the moment. I mean, he has no reason not to. And Baxter now putting a nice lap on the board, 30.195. And I said this in the pro race in Germany or maybe Austria it was, where I said that Craig Baxter was a guy that was really improving during the season. He had a little bit of trouble getting into Q2 the first couple of races into the season, but he really showed a lot of promise, and he makes it work for now. Quakel with a 29.7 definitely makes it work. Not as fast as Ace yesterday, but definitely fast enough for this lot. Only guy in the 29 seconds. But Craig Baxter, I mean, if he continues on like this, he might be a contender for some race victories for Quakel. I mean, he basically put himself into Q2 the past 3 races, where the first few races he would be P14 and P12. So hopefully for him he's improving. We need new heroes in Formula Sim Racing. Since last year we don't have Bono Huis, we don't have Morgan Morant. So we need all the talent that we can get. And well, for a fashion it's nice to have some new names. Falcon now, 30.264, showing he is up there as well. Not really up with Quakel, who's half a second shy of the rest of the pack, but still doing a nice time from Falcon. David Cook still on P10, still with that 30.829. We only have 1.5 minutes to go until the flag is down. So basically who left the pits right about now can still get another lap under his belt. But so the tensions are rising. And Quakel is going out again. Won't make it to the flag though. Okay, so Giordano Valeriano puts himself in P8. Good for him. After that horrible shunt he had with Quakel during the outlap of Q1, the first lap. I mean, that was just complete bizarre, but I mean, Valeriano, I hope he learned from the accident he caused in Austria. I mean, he basically went full blown there, to put it in those terms. But I mean, we want to see some clean racing, but it's hard for some drivers, you know, accepting their own defeat, you know. I mean, but sometimes it's just not realistic to continue on without wings, without wheels. Hopefully we don't see anything of that today. Yesterday in the ace race we had Michael Francesconi, who tried to, you know, race on without the rear wing with heavily suspension damage. Completely useful move, but nevertheless no horrible accidents there. So the flag is falling at the moment. Whoever crosses the finish line now can still make a lap time. But for as now the flag is out. Henry Harmson stole P10 at the moment, still on a fast lap. Trying to finish this as well, but he's in the clear for now. David Cook dropped down to 12, but he's still in a lap. So is Zarov. Can Henry Hampson defeat himself? He has to now, because he's on P11. He cannot. Alari Outspush is pushed down to 10. And Schroer did a nice personal best there, I believe. 30.0 for him. Michele D'Alessandro is coming down. Wow! 29.6, saving the best for last. Michele, mamma mia! What are you showing us? Nice time from him. That must feel a little of... Then Jeroen Kwekel must feel a little bit of pressure. Let's see if others can make it. Bufumo made it into the Q2, pushing Alari Outspush out of it. But still a lot of these drivers are running. Zarov is ending his lap right about now. Eugene from Loganberg gives up. Will Zarov do it though? He needs 2 tenths. He will not do it. Oh, he is trying, cheeky bastard. Dmitry Zarov being a cheeky bastard here. I mean, it's 1.5 minutes ago since the flag has fell down. And he's still trying to make a go for it. You know, that's a nice spirit. But this session is over and we have our top 10 for this Q2 session. Names are on the left, I hope for you. And otherwise it's Jaakko Mikkonen's fault. Isn't it, Jaakko? Eh? No, I'm just bashing. He cannot say anything to me, so I can flame him no matter what. Just joking there, Jaakko. We're happy to have you back. But now it's time for Q2 and Michele D'Alessandro is saying, okay, I'm going out of this pit lane. I don't mind standing stationary in front of a red light. I'm gonna show these guys what I'm made of. And here's Italian, so... Made out of pasta and bad pickup lines for women, most likely. If you're offended by that and you're Italian and you're watching, please write your complaints to ilovechrisdejong@gmail.com. So, but it really surprises me that Michele D'Alessandro is going out instantaneously. I mean, if he lets other people go out on track first, he would obviously have the grip advantage later on. I mean, it is rFactor 2. They are fixing the or trying to improve the grip build as much as possible. And as long as you have a lot of cars driving around the track, even though if it's just 20 or 30 laps by these guys with an out lap and a fast lap, then it will still improve by a couple of percents. Maybe Michele just wants to stay into the rhythm. He made, you know, the best time in the end in Q1 with a 29.6. Whilst Kwekel was already confident that he would walk this session. I was confident as well. He placed the perfect booby trap. But let's see. He's getting into his zone, Michele. Let's go on board with him. If we weren't already. You don't know how hard it is for us cameramen and broadcasters. And commentator. No. So here we go, tries to pick up a lot of speed here out of the exit. You need to be flat early on. He's taking a tight line through that, to say the least. Here we go. Obviously we're going full throttle here for this first right-hander. Really steering in point for him. Maybe to release as much friction as possible. Stays conserved into corner 3. Doesn't shift back to first gear, so confident on that. Opens the DRS quite swiftly and opens it back again, because the DRS detection point is opening point is actually before that corner. But in no way you can open up DRS and take that corner flat out. Now takes a wide Fernando Alonso line through here, but it will mean that he will be earlier on the power and have a higher exit speed out of here. And as long as he keeps it down to the metal here, I am sure he will take the advantage, and indeed he does so brilliantly even. Not doing a Kimi Raikkonen cut there. Can he keep it conserved to Beckett? Here we go. And a relatively nice exit onto the hangar straight. Under the bridge. And here we go. Here he has to take the outside line. Inside and outside over the curbs, clip the right curve of the curbs with your right tire and fix your braking point for here. He shoots a little bit through, tries to compromise it, but he slides around. This is definitely not going to be pole position for Michele D'Alessandro. He is keeping it together for now, 30.3 even with that mistake. I'm sure he will be cursing in all kind of pasta recipes right now and throwing his keyboard against the wall. But you know, that's the beautiful part of Q2. I mean, either you keep it together or you just fail horribly. He didn't do a horrible time, nevertheless. But for him, it's pretty damn horrible. He would definitely go for a 29.6, maybe 0.5. Valeriano now takes a 30.2. Getting beaten by that guy certainly feels like a kick in the groin. So Christoph Schroer about to cross the start-finish line. What's he going to do for go speed? He is putting himself up to provisional pole position. 30.094 for him. Quakel is still on a outlap, I wanted to say. Carlos Hernandez puts himself in P4 with 30.6. And it's Adrian Falcon with a 30.2 who's taking P2. But for how long? It's Bufumo who is in P6 with a 30.759. Greg Baxter now, what will you show us? 30.426. A little bit disappointing, Greg Baxter. I'm sure that's disappointing for him the most. Victor Ivanov takes provisional pole position. Wow! Nice lap, Victor. 30.0 for him. But 2.4 instead of 9.4 from Christoph Schroer. And now we have two guys that can still do it. It's Samuel Carpenter and the guy who we all have been waiting for to finish the lap. It's Jeroen Quakel. Placing your bets right now. Carpenter sliding around hard on the power there. Yeah, 6th place for him. And now it's all the attention on Jeroen Quakel from the GoSpeed team. He has pole position to lose because he did a terrific time in Q1. And if he doesn't make a mistake like Michele Di Alessandro, I'm sure he will take pole position. His sector times are looking, well, relatively sublime even. He just needs to keep it together in this sector, and he's leaving a lot of margin there. Onto that right-hander. Coming on to the last couple of corners on the track. Don't touch the curb on the outside. It will be a big sliding party and a 29.512. Wow, that's a really fast lap from Jeroen Quakel. That's a really fast lap. That shows some promise for WC. I mean, WC drivers can have a reference point at this moment. I mean, I'm sure that will be a Q2 spot for WC. And Jeroen Quakel just being way out of his league. He won virtually every race of this season next to the victory that Michele Di Alessandro took in Germany, I believe. But I mean, this is just insane. The only guy in the 29 seconds, and not with a 29.9, not with a 29.8, but with a 29 freaking 5. You know, insane. So let's hope that his launch control fails during the race, so he has to, you know, work for it again, like he had to do in the past few races. He won Austria whilst he started in P5 or P6. He was second in Germany whilst starting P8 or something like that. But you know, this time he has pole position back under his belt, and he put a lot of practice in his qualifying, and it pays off for him. So he's substituting Johnny Simon, by the way, Jeroen Quakel. When a massive carnage into the pit lane, is it Giordano Valeriano? Is it him? It is not. Why would I expect that from him? I don't know. Well, the warm-up is starting. We have about 10 minutes in order to get everything ready for the start. These drivers are obviously going to try and get as ready as possible, trying to get a little bit of comfortable laps into the under the belt in terms of a full fuel tank, trying to get into the rhythm, because if you push every lap, then I'm sure you will pit in 6 or 7 laps time like Chris Jong did yesterday. Fucking retard, right? No, but at the moment I do think we are going out for the commercial break of Thrustmaster. Enjoy it, buy a Thrustmaster wheel, and we will see you in 2 or 3 minutes time. See you then. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial. It took me a little bit longer to come back. My rFactor 2 has crashed. Obviously it's still not 1.0, it's still a beta. But yeah, alt-tabbing sucks, it seems. So I'll be right there. But as we are getting there, and as I'm getting back into the server, it will be interesting to see if Jeroen Kwekel will manage to, you know, keep up. It should be a relatively warm-up race for him, since he has to do WC later, and it's only, what is it, 60% of the distance, so he can have a little bit of a practice run. But will he keep it together? He in the early parts of the season, sorry Jeroen, I have to say it, but you did make some slight mistakes. Weren't the most consistent driver in WC, that is. But still, I mean, Michele D'Alessandro has great pace. If he can make the run on the first few corners on a few guys in front of him, I'm sure he will be fighting and contesting Kwekel for a race victory. Because now that Michele has a race victory under his belt, he is hungry. Hungry like a ferocious weasel. So let's see, I am reconnecting right now. Always nice to see what is happening. Hopefully I didn't miss a lot of crashes, did I? No. Well, to be honest and to be fair, I mean, I hope we will see a clean start of the race. It's never nice for people to get DNS purely because you get crashed or something happens and it just all, you know, falls in like a house of cards, you know, after one guy making a mistake. But you know, that That's also racing, but it isn't racing anymore if it happens every single time. Some of these guys still have to use their minds a little bit harder. I mean, we obviously, then I'm gonna stop talking about it, I swear. But we obviously saw the race DNF of Andrew Pinar in Austria, where Giordano Valeriano drove across the track without a rear wing with heavily suspension damage, and therefore felt necessary to go back to the pits, get that 10 points for finishing. But in the act he made a horrible incident happen and crashed someone off the track. Didn't got a race ban, he deserved a season ban in my opinion, but fortunately for him, I am not the judge. So yeah, he is back again. And then this time on the outlap he just crashes Quakel off, you know? I mean, some guys never learn. Jeroen Quakel now in the 32 seconds, the only guy into the 32 seconds on the race stints. And trust me, it's warm up, but trust me, these guys are giving it everything they got. They want to feel as comfortable in the zone as can be. And I just saw Jeroen Quakel making a practice pit stop, putting it into reverse as well. I mean, those are the mistakes you wanna get rid of before the race starts, obviously. Here, Michele Di Alessandro with a 30.0. He is definitely up there. He is definitely up there. And on the back of the field, yeah, it's relatively spread out. I mean, top 10 is basically within 5/10 of each other, except for Quakel and Di Alessandro. But apart from that, I mean, it's gonna promise some close racing. And I hope I can promise that as well. So 2 minutes to go before we go on the cooldown lap, as I like to call the warm-up lap. I mean, the only thing you can warm up during the warm-up lap are the brakes, because everyone is just driving 100 kph. It's really boring. And I hear a lot of crashing sounds at the moment, but obviously that has been escaped already. Spoiled the fun for us to enjoy. Ooh, it's Chapeau now going really wide. So what to expect from this race? Well, hopefully we can expect Michele Di Alessandro to jump a little bit of guys in front of him and just make a perfect start and get P2 before turn 1. That would be the ideal situation, also for guys watching. Certainly, because otherwise Quakel is just gonna make a run for it and do a Vettel, you know? I mean, just like Sebastian Vettel, just getting the car into pole position and just driving away from the rest of the pack. And that's not what we want to see. We want to see, you know, Italy versus Holland on the track here, right at the Pro Series of FSR. Now guys are trying their launch control settings, just like Viktor Ivanov is doing right now on the straight. Well, definitely not the best starter, but will he be the worst? Right now, just a few more seconds to go before we are going live to the race. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are as well who are watching. Let's see now. Yeah, so in a minute's time we are going underway. And we will see what's what. And as long as these guys can keep it together in turn 1 and 2, I mean, they're not the worst of corners. I mean, it's not as worse as Monaco turn 1, for example, right? So, I mean, a lot of things could still go wrong, but it's a wide track. So, I am expecting these guys to show a little bit of sense, common sense as well, and a little bit of racing instinct to know where to be. You can win a lot of places, you can lose a lot of places, but if you lose a lot of places, it's still not a reason to just go full retard into a turn into lap 1. So here we go, race director Mike Partington putting everything together. And then we're off. And there we go. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the maybe it's a little bit of slower internet. I don't know. I still hope we have the 60 FPS version that we have yesterday, and everything is completely clear thanks to our dear Jaakko Mikkonen. I mean, who likes Sam Jones anyway, right, Sam? If you're watching, no, joking. But we are getting underway. 32 laps right in front of you. And we will most likely see a 2-stop, I believe. Uh-oh, who's going complete retard there? Who is on the super... They all have super soft tires, I mean, well, maybe it's my bug. But I'm sure it's medium and hard. I don't know, I'm really baffled by this. Maybe it's a visual bug, but for me, a lot of these drivers have super soft tires. Just gonna ask Mike to be sure. Seems it's just me. Well, good for that then. wouldn't be nice to have a messed up start there. Nevertheless, I can see the hard compounds, and Alari Altspush in P11 is immediately going onto the hard compound, so he will have the best chance into jumping some guys if it's getting a little bit of tight in front of him. I mean, if you're driving around in a train, I mean, you saw it with Rens and myself yesterday. I was on the hard tire, and Rens still took like 4 or 5 laps to overtake me, although I did go a little bit of full retard as well yesterday with one move, I would say. But you know, ferocious defending can have its possibilities. I hear crashes as well. Oh, please let it be a malfunction or a bug or anything. But I did hear someone crash. David Cook and Pascal Chapon are in the pits. Weird situation. But there's this thing, if people make contact, I instantly hear it. I just don't see which guy it was. That's why you sometimes hear us commentators say, I hear crashes or whatever. That's the reason for that. So, as we are making our approach to Maggot, Beckett and onto the Hangar Straight, it's the slowest we will go through there this afternoon. Because it's just a freaking warm-up lap. As long as these guys can get some temperature into their brakes, all will be fine. And Victor Ivanov pushing into the rearview mirror of Jeroen Kwekel, telling him non-verbally, you know, I got my eye on you. I want to jump you into turn 1. Let's hope he can make a good start, because Jeroen Kwekel is a ferocious starter as well. He knows what to do, and for a reason, it's for a reason he won 7 out of 8 races. So. Some more burnouts for the front runners. They want to start the race with a little bit of heat in those rear tires. And David Cook is still in the pits. I don't get it. Well, his problem. We're about to start the race. As we are waiting for the lights to turn on. Jeroen Kwekel is waiting the hardest. Still people behind him trying to line up. And there we go, we have the lights, and now we're waiting until they're off. And they are, it seems like a little bit of a messed up start from Ivanov in terms of, oh, Valeriano makes a nice start. It's David Cook who fucks up completely. And we do have a little bit of crash, not even before the end of turn 1. Holy macaroni. Viktor Ivanov makes a start back into P2. Christoph Schroer did take P2 for just a second, but Viktor defended brilliantly. So Jeroen Kwekel passed him, didn't get past into turn 1. And Carpenter made 2 places right, and we have a crash. We have a crash, but who is it? It's in the back of the field, nobody cares. Kwekel now with a comfortable lead as well, with 7/10 already, and Viktor Ivanov getting under pressure by Christoph Schroer. John Falcon trying to keep up a little bit, going wide around the old fabulous turn 1. And the dirty air into Maggots and Beckett's. It's just a little bit insane. You cannot overdrive yourself and your tires. If you do that in the first couple of laps, your tires are getting shredded. No DRS available for these drivers. Not just yet. So and a nice train is forming. Well, apart from that crash early on, in the first few seconds of the race, nobody is like fatally hurt, or except Michele D'Alessandro. It was Michele D'Alessandro getting crashed or crossing a crash, I don't know. Robert Corey decided it's time to get into the pit lane. Surprisingly, well, he might have a little bit of damage, I don't know. And what are we seeing? Ivanov now getting really under pressure by Christoph Schroer. Christoph Schroer has the advantage of his teammate in front of him. And he's now into the draft of Viktor Ivanov. The gap is just not there. He decides to back off and live for another day and race for another lap. Now behind him there are the usual suspects. And Jax Wengler made a great start. I believe he had a back of the grid or something like that. I just didn't notice. I'm sorry, Jax. He is going to try on the inside by Alari push, and Alari is defending. Jax gets into the dirty air and is seen, and now is getting under pressure by Ranzini. But Ranzini is not able to do it, and I hear a lot of contact again. Oh, who is that? Who is that? It is... Why can't I see it so quickly? Holy... It's Craig Baxter! No! Craig Baxter is off the track and probably out of this race. Got heavily suspension damage. Crashed with Carlos Hernandez. So Hernandez and Baxter collided. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Henry Hermsen with his beautiful wing. Front wing, sponsored by Pornhub, not joking, actually, is going out of this race as well. So a lot of this crashing action onto the first few laps. Definitely not the track where I was expecting to see that, but a lot of these guys having trouble to let each other live on the track. Fortunately, it's on the back of the field and not in the front. Although I do feel a little bit bad about Craig Baxter. He is a front runner as well. So, but this is racing. Sometimes these things happen. Now a lot of these guys trying to get a little bit of settled into the pack. Jeroen Kwekel already with a 2.6 lead over Viktor Ivanov, who's in P2. But he on his term has got a 1.4 second lead now over P3 Christoph Schroer. Christoph Schroer, obviously a guy who is known for his, one lap pace and doing an awesome job into getting good results in. But I do have to say that he's a guy that has, the most spark the first few laps, and then he just slides off a little bit. But he is here to prove me wrong, and maybe he just lets Ivanov go and tries to do it on the tactical. Ivanov is going into the pit, so he did have a false start, and he's crashing. Viktor Ivanov, no, going complete potato. Holy, I hope we can get a replay or an onboard from that. Viktor Ivanov just messing up. Sorry, Victor, you're a great guy as a teammate as well, but that was just amateuristic from another planet. I mean, that was just complete mental. He served his drive-through, and that was the reason why he made such a nice start. So that leaves Christoph Schroer now in P2. certainly something that GoSpeed will be happy about, I can assure you. Quakel now with a 4.6 lead over his teammate after that deserved pit stop of a drive-through penalty of Victor Ivanov. I already thought I saw a sort of Maldonado Spa 2012 move, you know, and you're just having a false start there, but yeah, my eyes didn't deceive me, apparently. So Quakel well in the lead, Christoph Schroer well behind him, but also having a nice over 1 second gap between him and Falcon. Although Falcon is closing a little bit, I say that with a little bit of too much joy. But Falcon is not having DRS at the moment. So Jax Wengler onto the hard compound. The first runner onto the hard compound like, you know, he's in P6. The rest in front of him are all on the medium compound, the faster tire. And if he can be composed, I'm sure he will maybe fight for a podium even. And who is that? Who is that crashing? It's Ronzini. It's Ronzini. What happened there? What happened there? Holy, 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 if we can get a replay on that. He tried to make a move because Alari Altspush lost traction and then they collided. And massive carnage onto the main straight. That was a bit of a mistake of the Netrex car of Alari, in my opinion. Alari just, you know, should have let him go. I mean, it was his mistake. He ran wide. You can't defend in a corner like that by forcing someone off. You gotta do it controlledly. You gotta controlledly force someone off, right, Brent? Like I did with you yesterday and you with me. But it was fun racing, in my opinion. But yeah, that was just way too much aggression from Alari there, and it caused Ronzini to have a lot of trouble here. But a lot of trouble in front of him as well. George Winter having a bad exit. If we can go on board with Ronzini into Maggots and Beckett's and losing all the traction, all the grip out of a dirty air coming out of George Winter. Smelly guy that is. That's why it's so dirty, that air. Just joking. But yeah, it's it's a lot of action here. Only 4.5 laps gone. Jeroen Quakel now trying to start his 5th. And he's just well into the zone, 5 seconds clear of everyone, and just, you know, getting half a second a lap. I mean, seemingly from the last lap. Now, I'm really curious what Jax Wengler is gonna do, because in front of him, Christoph Schroer is wearing out his tires dramatically. Adrian Falcon cannot capitalize on that because there's dirty air in front of him. Samuel Carpenter, who's also on the medium softer compound, is behind that. They are holding each other up. And Jax Wengler onto the hard compound will be on the favorable tire in about 2 or 3 laps time, I think. Because the cars in front just wasted so much tire wear. You know, so it's interesting to see what's going to happen there. We might see Jax Wengler just making the undercut later into the race. You know, he obviously has to pit later if he doesn't wear his tires out, because over pushing your tires doesn't matter if you have like a rocky compound. I mean, if you overdrive the car, you overdrive the tires, then they will shred in a matter of laps. So no DRS for Wengler, but he's doing a fantastic job. I think that's the guy to watch out for, Jax Wengler here. Or Jax Wengler, how French people might say it, I don't know. I don't speak French. So Falcon now really knocking onto the door of Christoph Schroer. He is really close. If he can reach, if he can almost touch the rear wing of Schroer if he reaches with his hand. Let's hope he will not touch it with his front wing. Commentator curse it coming. So this allows Carpenter and even Wengler to pack up a little bit, and Wengler is just driving conservatively. He is driving really conservative and just, you know, trying to just follow these guys. They all have DRS except Schroer, and Schroer is defending quite a lot. But if Schroer can make it until the first few pit stops, then it will all be fine. Bufumu is fighting with George Winter, but they are not trading places at the moment. Bufumu just eager to pass that German. Schroer manages to get some breathing space between him and Velcon. 3/10 we're talking about. But still Velcon is getting his DRS open, and what will it bring him? I mean, Schroer does have a stop speed fixed. It's great. And Carpenter and Velcon seem really optimistic about their downforce levels. I mean, they're just really sliding and giving it every little piece of input, every % of input that they can get. But I am really curious what's going to happen in a matter of 3-4 laps when they are going to pit and Jacques Wengler is just going to drive on. I do think they are going. They are all going for 2-stoppers, but have been proving wrong in the past. I mean, David Greco did a 2-stop a few races ago in WC. Really amazing, but yeah, next to impossible if you ask me. So my judgment might be wrong. Wengler now really close to Carpenter, opening up the door. He's even diving into it. Carpenter giving every space he has. He still has the inside for the next corner. But if Wengler can cut underneath, he tries to stick it to the outside. There's a little bit of too much optimism from Wengler, but he is trying the best he can. He has to park his car in the inside. He's not going to go for it. Wengler did not go for it. But if you want to overtake on that corner, on that turn 1, then you have to be parked right alongside before you can make a dive. You cannot expect someone to get out of the way if you have one wheel along the side and then just cry to the admins because you were alongside technically, because the 1 millimeter of your front wing was alongside their back tires. No, you have to be proper alongside to make a dive right there. But to be fair, I mean, Carpenter wasn't defending that at all, so you can't blame Wengler for putting him under pressure. I mean, we're racing. So in front of Carpenter though, Falcon and Shaw are leaving each other a little bit of more room, but he can't really look in front of him. He really has to look behind him, because it seems now that Wengler has fresher tires. I mean, he is on the hard compound, Carpenter on the medium, the softer one, and it's wearing out much faster than the hard, obviously. And here he might be able to do it. He did it last time. Carpenter is not defending, and this should be easy peasy by Jacques Wengler, but he's braking really late, Carpenter is, and he's closing the door relatively early for Wengler. Wow, these drivers are really working for it, that's for sure. I mean, in front it's Quakel, who's 6.5 seconds shy of the rest of the pack. I would be really surprised if something would happen there. Oh, and we have a driver off the track. It is Michelo Vicentovic. How unfortunate for him. And David Cook has a DNF, so that's unfortunate as well. Great, well, accident between those two, I believe. Didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it. So we have the first pit stop of the day, of the front runners at least. It's Adrian Falcon, who is going into this sloppy pit entry with his wall really close next to you. He's going to the harder compound, and I don't think he will do 23 laps on those. So I do think we will see about 10 laps from him, maybe 11, and he's gonna push, and then we will see him back into the pit. Where is he fading out though, Adrian Falcon, at the moment? He was in P3, he's now in P11, he comes out right behind Alari Al-Chapouche, and this is really frustrating for him, of course. I mean, you want to have clear air. He's definitely faster after 9 laps with fresher tires than the guys in front of him. But passing is another thing, you know, it's another story. So Schroer now really made his stint work. In the end, he got a lot of pressure from Falcon in the early days, in the early laps, but he managed to keep it together. But Wengler now really putting pressure on Carpenter. And I can't see any pit lights on. Maybe that's a visual bug as well. But for the moment these guys aren't pitting in the front. At least from my perspective. Could be I'm wrong. What's Quakel doing? He's going to continue on. Onwards, he says. Christopher Schroer is going to pit earlier, I assume. And he's going into the pit right now. I mean, he burned his tires quite dramatically. Does make a nice pit stop entry though. And that means that Jax Wengler for the time being is going to take P3. Samuel Carpenter is going up into P2 at the moment. But Schroer and Giordano Valeriano here are in the pits at the moment. Schroer is already going to leave the pits as well. Christian Bufumu into the pit. And what's happening with Carpenter and Wengler? They are fighting it out fair and square. It's costing a lot of time for Wengler, and this is the moment for him. This is the moment where Wengler has to get him, and this is the moment as well where Carpenter has to know that he is seen. He's still gonna try it with great defending from Wengler. That's a 1 + 1 = 2 situation for him. And Samuel isn't Carpenter isn't really putting any defensive lines in there as well. I mean, with that in mind, he could have just let him go straight away. You know, he would have lost a little bit less time. But maybe they have a personal issue with each other as well. I don't know. So Falcon now did make the early pit stop work in the end, although he did came out behind Alari Altspush. He is now in front of Christoph Schroer, and Quakel is into the pits. But I'm sure he will take the effective lead, but it does mean that we have Jax Wengler leading the race. And this is what I foresaw earlier, and what the most beautiful part is. I mean, obviously he has older tires than Falcon at the moment, and Schroer. But he can go on the faster compound now for the remaining 2 stints of this race. And that's the point where he has to take advantage, you know, and he has to make some more laps work. Maybe go into the pits this lap or the lap after that, but then it will be all fine. Samuel Carpenter, however, who is still out on the medium compound after 11 laps, this is lap number 12, he is certainly losing a lot of time. I mean, Quakel behind him on the hard compound might try to, well, even finish the race with a little bit of preparation. He has no issues to be bothered with a 5-second delay. He has a massive lead over everyone since Carpenter and Wengler still have the pit. But Carpenter should go to the pit ASAP because the guys behind him, Schroer and Falcon, have pitted as well. So if he's gonna wait too long, he will lose out on those. Not worth to stay out longer anyway. If you're going for a 2-stop, he might go for a 1-stop, but I don't see it happen, to be honest. Might surprise us. He might. What's he going to do? He's going into the pit right now. Woohoo! I want to go on board with him with the pit entry, because it seemed like he had a little bit of a speeding issue going into the pit, but nah, it's close, but he almost speeded to the pits. Well, where is he going to drop out? Definitely behind Schroer and Falcon. Yeah, definitely, look at that, because he delayed his pit stop. He's now in P9, although there are some guys still in front of him who need to pit. But Viktor Ivanov, who also still has to pit, he obviously had his drive-through. Oh well. So Wengler on the same compound as Quakel. The only difference is that Quakel, his tires are 10 laps fresher, and that's a big difference after 12 laps. So I have no doubt at all that Wengler is going to pit this lap, or maybe the lap after that, or if he really wants to get rough, he has to do 5 more laps and just go for a 1-stop, but I don't see that happen. But I do encourage different strategies. But yeah, he's still going on for the moment. Go Jax Wangler. And behind that, Falcon and Schroer are getting close together again. And Schroer has fresh tires again, so it's time for him to burn those to the ground. And maybe in doing so, getting closer and closer to Adrian Falcon. That close that he will be able to get a move in. Andrea Kanata into the pits from P6. He will fall down back into the order. And it's now Ivanov in P6, who still has to pit as well. He really has thrown in his own glasses with that false start. Always messed up and fucked up when that happens, but you know, it happens to the best. So happens to him as well for the time being. Who is that? It's Ventura, who's getting under pressure by his teammate Carpenter, and Ventura just lets his teammate go. That's wise team orders from those guys, or just a common understanding between the two of them. And Dmitry Zarov, who hasn't pitted yet, who might do a one-stop. I mean, he's still on the medium compound. He is in lap 14 at the moment. So I wouldn't see a reason why he would stop twice after this. To be fair, if he can do 14 laps on medium, he can definitely do 17 or 18 on hards, if he just stays conserved. He's going to the pits right now, so 14 laps, that's the cut for Zarov. So that's nice to see, different strategies. Ooh, what is that? What is that? It's Eugene from Longenberg with a great accident. Eugene from Longenberg with a horrible accident. What happened there? What happened there? Oh, he just lost the car, went into the barriers flying. And that's a driver mistake from Eugene from Swangenberg that caused him to have the accident and a DNF. So fortunately he didn't collect anyone. Fortunately as well, he didn't decide to drive through with 3 wheels and whatever. I mean, not this guy. So keeping his respect clear. But unfortunate to see. Nice guy to pick up points. So Wangler now still leading the race after 14 laps. And I'm really curious to see where he will fit. And I'm getting confident about the fact that he's going for a one-stop as well. You know, and maybe, just really maybe, Quakel has to watch out then. Because Quakel still needs another stop, I think. I mean, Quakel is not going to do 22 laps. Maybe he will as well, I don't know. Nice, Pascal Chapon going out of the way of the leader's way, that is, and doing so brilliantly. That's the way we like to see that, but now there's still Jeroen Quakel coming behind him, and I hope he will do the same for him as well. If you're 1 lap down, you shouldn't be holding up your fellow competitors, and he's doing so. Oh, well, I'm taking my head off for Chapon here. I'm taking my head off. This is the way we want to see that. Great driving from him, even though he's 1 lap down after 15 laps. So looking back into the field, George Winter is pressuring Andrea Ventura, and he is having DRS right now, but the only messed up thing is that I think that Ventura has it as well. If we can go on board with George Winter, here we go. DRS versus no DRS, no defending from Ventura. Winter on the outside, on the inside line, and makes the move stick for now. Has a little bit of a wobbly exit there, but nice driving for him. So George Winter up to P7. Now the hunt is on for George. The hunt is on for Giordano Valeriano. He is driving P6 at the moment. And Carpenter, just by stopping 2 or 3 laps later than Valcon and Schroer, he lost out on 9 seconds effectively. I mean, Schroer and Valcon are just 9 seconds in front of him, 9 or 10 seconds. And he just threw in his own glasses, basically. by stopping that late. Jax Wendler is going to pit right now, and he is going for a one stop, I can assure you. I can assure you. And he is coming out, maybe even, oh no, not in front of Falcon and Schroer, but those guys still need to pit, I believe. Oh, he is going for Schroer though, he's going for Schroer, he's on the inside, the inside line is now available for Schroer, but he decides to flash it onto the other side. Wow, terrific driving from these two, getting the maximum out of each other. Schroer does have the better top speed, I believe, but Wengler can defend with DRS. Ooh, sliding around from Schroer there. That's not gonna do his tire life any good, and I'm sure Falcon and Schroer are still going to have to make a pit stop. And Wengler has to be composed right now if he wants to make this pit stop work. Because 16 laps on medium compound tires. It's still medium, it's not super soft, but they do wear off quite dramatically if you over push. And being into the dirty air, he has to get rid of Adrian Falcon, with all the respects to Adrian, as quickly as possible, and get the least drag, the least dirty air, and the most of his stint. But here he goes as well. Again, defending line for Falcon, but Falcon goes back onto the line. And the grip, the better grip for Wengler here, cutting the track, but forced wide as well. The outside becomes the inside, a golden rule, and he makes the job work. Jax Wengler with a brilliant move on Falcon. Falcon defended it with everything he got. He even pushed Wengler wide, but Wengler just drove around and made it stick. And that's the obviously the advantage that you get from new, fresh, medium compound tires compared to 5-6 laps old hard compounds. And as we can see, Wengler is just flying off, and Quakel is now 12.5 seconds, 12.7 seconds actually into the lead. But he still has another pit stop to go. So this can be quite interesting, I tell you. Maybe Jax is even gonna take the win here. He was perfectly positioned earlier on in this race, like what I said when he was still P5. But I said, okay, he's the one that we have to look out for, and well, the one stop might be the best strategy since he started on the hard compound. Now Schroer now having trouble to pass Falcon, to stick with him, let alone pass him. But he got DRS to close that gap with another 10th. And he has to be conserved and keep it together. And maybe an opportunity will come in the remainder of the race. We just passed halfway. As Samuel Carpenter is sliding around quite dramatically. In dramatic fashion. He is soon to be attacked by Giordano Valeriano. On his term is getting under pressure by George Winter, who closed that gap as well over the past 3-4 laps. And Schroer now having problems in staying conserved. Really spending every little bit of rubber onto his tires in the early stints and just trying to go for it. Good attitude, but at the moment it doesn't show effective for it. And these guys still have to make a pit stop, so... Now, Pascal Chapon getting lapped again by Jax Wengler. I hope he will show the same respect for Jax. Wengler driving with the freaking Illuminati gloves. And if he wins this race, it's definitely Illuminati confirmed from my point of view. I'm really curious what Quakel will do. He will have the choice of just staying out there. He has a lead of 11.5 seconds now. But Wengler is you know, getting closer and closer, but his tires will wear off as well. But the main point is that if Quakel decides to stay out and not go for a 2-stop and make this a 1-stop race, then he has to do in total 22 laps on this set of tires. Adrian Falcon decides after 9 laps of running onto the hard compound tires that it's that it has been enough and is switching to the medium compound, obviously trying to make an undercut work. So is Giordano Valeriano. As long as he is staying on track, I'm happy, and everyone around him will be happy. And Ivanov now, I'm sure he will try a one-stop. But he is on the hard compound and is in P9 at the moment after that unfortunate false start from him. But it was his own mistake, so... Oh, and we have a track! We have Adrian Falcon crashing horribly! Holy moly! Holy, what happened there? What happened there? He just got crashed! Oh my god! Holy, holy, holy! He just got... Wow! I have no words for that. I have no words for that. He just got collected by Dmitry Zaorov, who apparently forgot to brake. Dmitry just trying to make something work, and he just forgets to brake. Not really something we are used to see from Zaorov, but this is just... Yeah, Dmitry Zaorov is saying no effing words, but it was definitely your fault. You freaking fruitcake. Don't talk like that. Holy, holy, holy. What an action we're seeing here. Every race there's this one guy who's just going over the line and it's going from bad to worse. And unfortunately Adrian Falcon is the victim now, who drove a sublime race. I mean, he decided to pit it early and he was optimistic about his podium spot, you know, and he had every right to do so until Dmitry Zaorov came along and tried to ruin his race, you know, and that's the way it goes. Oh well. Hopefully that's the end of it today, because I don't want to see that kind of behavior in WC, and obviously you guys don't. And I'm sure we aren't going to see them as well. That's the difference between WC and the lower categories. But oh, Quakel is into the pit. Third of 10.3 seconds is the margin he has over Jax Wengler, which will definitely not be enough for him to keep the lead after this pit stop, but maybe he will get him into the end. That's the strategy that Quakel has to stick by. So 22 laps onto the hard compound isn't going to work. And he is on a fresh set of mediums, and he can afford to push quite hard the upcoming 11 laps. But what will the difference be between Wengler and him? I mean, Wengler is on a medium compound as well, but they are 5 laps old, where Jeroen's tires are completely fresh, and the margin is only 4 or 5 seconds. 4.5, so right in between. I don't think that this will be enough for Wengler to hang on to this. I think that Quakel will just get him in 5 or 6 laps time. But maybe Jax can keep him behind. Maybe so, or he has to pray for a mistake of Quakel, but those are relatively rare in the second part of the season. Early part, like I said in the broadcast earlier on, it was a little bit tricky from time to time with him, but made some concentration errors, but now he is definitely into the groove and he wants to win again after, well, not losing last race, he got second, but still. Wengler just has to be composed, and he cannot afford to push right now. I mean, he has to make 16 laps work on this set of tires, and that's near impossibility if you have a full fuel tank or whatever these guys are driving with, 140, 130 liters. But on the other hand, you know, when you are a little bit down on fuel with 60, 70 liters to go, you know, it's less pressure onto the tire, so obviously less wear. But after one lap, it's half a second gone for Wengler, and it's only 3 seconds until he will have to defense from a DRS move, I believe. Really curious to see what Jeroen Kwekel, his plan will be. He just has to keep it together, and he will definitely get at least some shots in. He knows what he's doing. After that, Samuel Carpenter is now in P3. Christoph Schroer dropped back after, I believe, a pit stop as well. And Carpenter, yeah, well, you cannot stay out on this set of tires, I believe, but yeah, whatever. You either have some tactical insights or you don't. I'm sure some of these drivers have their engineers on TeamSpeak as well, giving a nice overview and perspective of how the things are going onto the race, what tire your direct competitor is on. That makes a difference as well. You know, having someone with a bird's eye view of the track and knowing what to do and when to do what. That's the most important bit. Victor Ivanov getting under pressure by George Winter. George Winter flying through the corners almost on 3 wheels. As Andrea Canata decides it has been long enough for this set of tires to run and decides to go into the pit with 10 laps to go, he will obviously go into the softer compound, the mediums, and try to finish this race with him. And Winter now really knocking onto the door of Ivanov, and with the DRS zone coming up, we might see the German do something spectacular. Not like we saw earlier on with Dmitry. Here he goes, Victor Ivanov defending quite hard, almost pushing him out of the track, but not quite so, and it forces him to brake really early. But he's a seen bird. George Winter is taking that 6th position back from Ivanov, and Ivanov has to slot behind. Maybe uses his head as well and thinks, okay, I know he's faster, I'm not gonna wear my tires out because it's not worth it for him, and just keeps it composed and maybe finishes the race in this stint. So 2.2 seconds now between Jack Swengler and Jeroen Kwekel. It's gonna be a fight for P1, to say the least. A lot of back markers in front of him. Kwekel not being the guy who has nice experiences with those, but hopefully it's going to be Pascal Chapon again, who's shown great manners to his fellow competitors. Wengler going a little bit wider, just taking the wider line in order to take a better exit and just carry on with the speed, and also taking it to the old turn 1. I mean, I like the new Silverstone circuit compared to the old one, but yeah, I do think that the old turn 1 is the best way to start a race in, but who am I? Kwekel twitching the steering wheel, giving it everything he's got. Wengler now getting behind Robert Corey, who is a back marker, but is he noticing it? He is. And Wengler just getting out of bounds, and Corey needs to watch out that he isn't collecting the second guy in the race named Kwekel. And Kwekel now definitely with an advantage here, almost a second. Jack Swengler lost through duo the distractions that Robert Corey gave. It gave enough room in the end, but it was a little bit of twitchiness. And here we see the tire advantage coming into play, and I'm sure that Kwekel has a better, well, calibration to his setup as well, so to speak. Wengler being a terrific driver. Michailo Vicentovic in front of the leader of this race, but he is having more troubles with getting Kwekel, keeping him behind, and again taking the wider exit line. But Kwekel not necessarily later on the power though, and he might even park it alongside. I'm sure he will if he's not defending. Wengler is defending, and Kwekel is just putting so much pressure onto this guy, and runs wide as well. Obviously you cannot do that too often, but I think he will get away with this fair and square. I mean, it did give Wengler some breathing space, and Quakel just making a little bit of a mistake into with coming up to the hangar strip. And Michailo Vicentovic is showing us how it's done as well to let the leaders pass with this race. And look at the pressure that Wengler is receiving from Quakel. Absolutely stunning determination showing from Jeroen, and he knows he has to do it as well. And he's just maybe trying a little bit of tactical skills as well by just wearing those tires down from Wengler, pushing him, you know. I mean, it's 10 laps now that Wengler is onto these mini compounds, and he's gonna dive for it on the inside. And Wengler leaves a lot of space, a little bit too much maybe. I mean, if he didn't do that, he would have been caught, I believe. Yeah, Wengler just running wide as well. Little bit of racing going on, should be fair and square, and that was just pure aggression from Jeroen. But I do think it was a rightful move. I mean, we wanna have aggression in Formula Sim racing, right? We want these guys to fight for it. So Wengler now has to slot in, but a second place for him might feel as a sour victory for him as well. But at least a victory, since he started way down the order, and his tires are getting shattered and shattered. He can even afford to make a pit stop now and get out in front of Schroer and just take it home, you know, and then be okay with the second place. No way that Quakel is gonna mess this up. No way. You can bet your house on it. And instantly is a second gone, so no more DRS as well for Wengler. And this is really cat in the bag for the remainder of this race. Only 5 laps to go. And as long as he keeps it together and conserved, then Quakel will be back on the top spot of the podium. But for now, it's wait and see. Samuel Carpenter, who did show a little bit of a lack in terms of tactical insights, is doing a terrific job in P4. And with 3 seconds of 2.8 seconds between him and Schroer, there is still plenty of opportunity for him to close that gap if he just knows how. Because the last podium spot still remains a podium spot, still remains a nice result. And with the horrifying crash of Velcon, who got collected by Dmitry Zarov, you know, he already gained another place. So. Wengler now has to bow for the astonishing pace of Quakel, and is well down, and Quakel is driving around with, well, I don't think the tip of his toe, but his foot quite firmly buried to the ground still. But yeah, he doesn't have to over push the limit though. He knows he's on the pressure tires, he knows he has the speed, and as long as he keeps that gap over a second, then there's no way he should worry or push even harder. Schroer though, 23.6 seconds behind the leader of this race, Quakel. So there's a different class in teammates as well, almost 1 second a lap. Difference has to be there. Verschil moet er zijn. Giordano Valeriano getting under pressure by nobody less than George Winter. And I am sure we will see some action on these guys. Valeriano locking up quite severely, and Winter on the fresher tires as well. Winter really pushing it, and together with DRS and a good exit, he might be able to close this gap. Valeriano is going really defensive. Oh man, this might turn sour, man. This might turn sour. Giordano Valeriano, not, you know, the best racing driver. I mean, I'm not the best racing driver as well, but this guy, you know, is showing some moves that belong in a circus from time to time. Fortunately for George Winter, he's still driving, he's still got all his wings and wheels. And if he keeps it together, I am sure he will get a move in as well. In front of that, it's relatively quiet. David O'Reilly gets lapped, no problem into lapping him. He knows what to do in a blue flag situation. And look at that defending from Giordano Valeriano. Is turning so much that just in order to deny a draft. Really epic. Well, surprisingly, Jax Wengler is keeping up with Quaco at the moment, 7/10. Didn't see that coming with 5 laps older tires. Did not see that coming. No, but sticking with someone is one thing. Passing them is another story. Good to see Wengler didn't give up though. And Valeriano again with a ridiculous defensive line and braking so late as he ever did this race, George Winter. Wowee. I'm sure George is gonna go for it the upcoming laps. I mean, Winter, you can say what you want from him, but he isn't the type of guy that creates pure panic and chaos like Valeriano can do from time to time. And 4/10 now between Quaco and Wengler. Is Quaco just toying with him? What the hell's going on? Passing him so easily, he had a 4.5 second gap and he closed it in a matter of 4 or 5 laps. And now Wengler on the old tire, you would say he's completely gone, but he's sticking with him. And he might even attack. Because he got the arrest, he got the better top speed, but there's no gap here. There is no gap here, that's way too optimistic. Just putting on the pressure. And the remainder of this race is just 1.5 laps to go. And I do think that the driver of the day will be Jax Wengler. I don't think he will be the winner, but he will definitely be my favorite driver of the day since he did a fantastic job. He's contesting for the lead of this race and for the win of this race to none other than Jeroen Quaco. And doing so on tires that are 5 laps older. So it's a noticeable difference. Wengler is almost going off in his determination. Bye, this is over at the moment for him. But he made it count. He tried so. And for that he will get my head off. George Winter still not done with Giordano Valeriano. Valeriano closing the door quite firmly. And George Winter even lifting 200 meters before the steering of before the turning in point. Just doesn't want to get caught out by the dirty air. Jeroen Quaco now on the last lap of this race. Taking home a victory once more, and it seems that George Winter has thrown in the towel as well. He's now well over a second away from Giordano Valeriano after going tremendously wide. So Jeroen Quaco passing the old start-finish line for that fast right-hander once more. Once more going to Maggots and Beckett's. And in front of him there's Christian Bufumu, who is not yet 1 lap down, but soon will be. Or will not be. Oh, and Wengler is off again. Wengler is off again. But he can afford it, because Christoph Schauer is half a light year behind him. And Jeroen Quaco is taking home this victory in Silverstone. And Christian Bufumu decides to just be 1 lap down and not get in any harm's way of the leader of this race, and he deserved it here. Look at this, Jeroen Quaco taking home the victory for his team Go Speed Racing, and it's his 7th out of 8 victories, of a 7th victory out of 8 races this season, and I'm sure he will be happy with that. Jackson Wengler should be happy as well. Only finishing a few seconds behind Quakel, and delivered a great fight. After he got passed, I really thought that Quakel would run away for 3 or 4 seconds, but it wasn't the case. Wengler did a fantastic job. So did Christoph Schroer. Was a little bit lucky that Adrian Falcon ran away from him or got crashed by Zaharov, but yeah, that's the unfortunate situation for Falcon, and actions have to be taken. Fortunately, I'm not the race director, but crashing someone off like that, I mean, and then even chatting with no effing words in the chat, I mean, it's just bad manners. Get some manners, Dimitri, get some manners. Although, I'm not your parents. Nevertheless, it has been a great race, and I do think that we were treated with a lot of action, and WC is still to come with a race winner, Jeroen Quakel, who will be with us in like 1.5 hours time when WC is starting. So I don't urge you to go anywhere, but I hope you all enjoyed the race for now. Our top 3, Jeroen Quakel, Jax Wengler and Christopher Schroer, are, well, should be happy at least. And Jeroen takes home another victory and almost secures the championship as well. With within 2 races he would be able. But that's what you get when you win almost every single race, right? So. Anyway, WC is starting in 1 hour's time approximately, and I urge you all to be there. For now, thank you for being here. We will start in, let me see for sure. Yeah, we will start in 52 minutes time, and we obviously hope that you will be with us there again. So see you then, and for now, thanks for watching. Bye bye.